Hi BookTube, my name's Nadine. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing the A tag. I was tagged in this by Mark over at Book Time with Elvis, and it's an original tag by Jim's Books Reading and Stuff. As usual, I'll do all the linky stuff down below for you. So if you hear any weird noises, my dog Romy is currently dragging her dog blanket all over the floor. We go through this every night for hours. She loves it. But I thought I will sit on the floor here and do this video because then I can show you my doggies. Okay, so here are the questions. Number 1, A is for America. What do you consider the great American novel? Now the reason it's taken me so long to do my response to this tag is that's a really hard question. There are a few tricky ones in here. But I think for me, from what I've read so far, I would have to say John Steinbeck's East of Eden is probably my most favouriteest American novel. It is about two families. It was the Trusks and the Hamiltons, and how they're sort of interwoven over time, and it's a tale of, you know, good versus evil, and how over the generations of this family saga, the people in this family reenact the fall of Adam and Eve, and the rivalry between Cain and Abel, and it's wonderful. It's a really wonderful book. If you haven't read it, I would recommend it wholeheartedly. Number 2, A is for arc. Which character in literature has the most interesting character arc? Oh, this took ages to think about. Romy just dragged her blanket onto one of the other dogs. No fighting. Come on. I had to think really hard about this one, and I'm going for a book that I read a long time ago but has always stuck with me, and that is White Oleander by Janet Fitch. And the young girl in that story had such an amazing transformation throughout the novel. So it follows Astrid, and her mother at the beginning of the book murders her lover, and so Astrid is taken into foster care, and she changes and develops throughout each home that she is placed into. And again, it's another really good book that I'd recommend. Okay, and then we've got A is for Abby. This is not a prompt, but some people ask for footage of Abby the beagle, so show off your pets. So I've introduced this one before for sure. This is Harper. He is 17 years old and very scruffy, but he's so old now I don't like to pester him too much. And he has been unwell these last few months. In fact, we took him to the vets yesterday and he's on antibiotics at the moment. But hopefully, touch wood, he's doing okay. And then we have Romy. Come here, come here, come here, come up. Come here, cuddle. Come here, come here. This is Romy, my Springer. And she's 2 years younger than Harper, so she's 15 now. And you are my best. Oh, and Penny, you're climbing on Romy, which is really helpful. This is Penny, and she is the daughter of Romy and Harper. Who would have thought a Shih Tzu could climb onto a Springer? And then I've got Squidge, who's walking around squeaking her new toy. Squidgy! Squidge! Come here. Yeah, bring it with you. Come on. Come on. And this is Squidge, who is Penny's sister. And then I also have Oscar, my bird. Here we go, that's Ozzy, who which was a great shock to me when I found out Oscar was female after he laid some eggs, after about 12 years of me calling him a he. Okay, so question 3. A is for Australia. What was the last book you read by an Australian author? And this really shocked me as well, actually, because I didn't realise that I read so few Australian authors. The last one that I could think of was Force of Nature by Jane Harper, and that was a few years back now. And that is about a group of people who are sent on a team building exercise in the Australian outback. And they're split into 2 groups of men and women. All the men come back fine, but the women didn't fare so well, and one of them goes missing. And it's all about what has happened there. Number 4, A is for Austen. What do you plan to read for Jane Austen July? So I definitely want to get to this one, Sanditon. I think it's the only one that I haven't read by Jane Austen. I bought it a few months ago and I still haven't picked it up yet. But I do also have some other Austen related books, which I will try and pick up at least one of these during July. So we have Jane Austen, A Life by Claire Tomalin. And then Unleashing Mr. Darcy by Terry Wilson. And then Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. By who wrote that? Graham Smith. Who Graham Smith? Who? Seth Graham Smith. And then Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters by Jane Austen and Ben H. Winters. Okay. 5. A is for automobile. What is your favourite literary automobile? I might be cheating slightly here, because it's been a while since I've read this short story, but the first car that came to mind for me was in the movie adaptation of this short story. I'm not sure if the book, if it was the same in the book. And it's the car from Stephen King's Sometimes They Come Back. And the car in that is just, where are you? Just amazing. And growing up, I always wanted to have this car. It's a 1955 Chevrolet 150, I think it was. And yeah, it's black with flames along the side and flames coming out the exhaust, and you know, it's a badass car. So that one for sure. A is for anonymous. What is your favourite book or poem published anonymously? I'm going to plump for Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, because when that was published originally, it was done so anonymously. And finally, 8. A is for audiobooks. Do you consider listening to an audiobook as reading? The age-old question, am I right? So, for me, if I'm asked what books do I have on the go at the moment, I will say to you, I'm currently reading the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and I'm listening to Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. So in that sense, when I think about it, I don't think of it as I'm reading it, but at the same time I am consuming the story, so I count it as a book I've read once I've finished it, if that makes sense. But I am also very mindful of what books I choose to have on audiobook, because I know for certain types of genre, I typically won't take it in as well in an audiobook format. So anything like complex fantasy, I would never ever touch on an audiobook. So those books, they tend to be much lighter reads, because I tend to listen when I'm like doing housework and things like that. But yeah, I guess generally I would count them as books that I've read, but I wouldn't term it as reading. So yeah, that is my answer to that. I didn't check who's done this before I started, which was very silly. So sorry if you've already done this video, but I'm going to tag Michael K. Vaughan and Summer Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. And has Maria done it? I can't remember if I've seen it. Maria at MH Books. Yeah, I'll leave it there. But I will speak to you again very, very soon. Goodbye.